Hey, this is Nick from Remedy667.com. If you're looking for horror fonts, we got a ton of them. Just go to our website. Anyway, today is Horror Font Friday. So that means we're going to be working on some alphabets. And today it's Badman's Gold, which is actually a Western, not a horror, but kind of in the same wheelhouse. You know, lots of Westerns made in Italy. Very gory films. This is pretty interesting because there's quite a lot to work with, and at the same time there's not really a lot to work with, but there's some letters that are very they like appear a lot, you know, like these will be very useful for our research. So, and this is also kind of a screwy one because everything's like on the angles, kind of bouncing all over the place. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do with this font this week is get them lined up. And Illustrator always does this thing where it converts things to black and white. I think it just does it because it hates me. But anyway, that's what we're doing first, because I can't really start chopping up components if I got things going every which way. They won't necessarily work properly or the way that I want them to. And there's probably easier ways to do this. I'm just using this as a guide. I'm not necessarily like, it's not the end all be all. I love this lettering. It has this jaggedness that you'll notice on the letters. They're pretty gnarly. I assume you could probably do that from some roughen filter. But these come from, because this comes from like an old ad, these are actually like where the halftones were near it. So it, and because it was small, they're that's why they're so gnarly. But it was essentially, they were up against the halftones. That's why it gets that jagged effect. I do this in fonts sometimes that especially if I grab them from, you know, a reference point like that, where it's coming from an old ad. And I think these came from old press kits that they used to do these like magazines before Pinterest. So you'll notice my bookshelf behind me. I got this magazine called Movie Ads from the Past. And it's essentially just a bunch of literally cut sheets. Like, and yeah. So a lot of good reference in these, but they're pretty gnarly edges sometimes, but I like that because I do. All right, so I like that we had this LMNO already. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this B and turn it into the P that it wants to be. I'm going to use the N for that. That was a really sloppy way to do that. I don't think I've ever done it like that before. And I was zoomed out a little too far, so I lost my gnarly edge there. There we go. Open this side up a little bit more. And probably go in a little bit. That is going to be our P. Pause for a second. Unpause. Okay, so What was I talking about? It's been like a fraction of a second. I'm going to make an E, and I'm looking for crossbars. I can probably make one from this A. Actually, you know what? Let's make my E from this D. We'll cut it. Whoops. We'll cut it right there. Right? Does that sound good? We're going to, whoops. We're going to take this side. And this side. And this is so weird. I don't know. It it feels so wrong, but it works. What's happening? Right? I must be losing my mind. I feel like I don't want the C to go over this far as the G did. That B I definitely want heading over like that. I'm actually going to use that B again in the R. Let's get an F going. Using this base here. And trim that there. We always pull it down. Pull down your middle there. And we're gonna rotate it up. And the reason that F had to rotate was because you notice I took to make that vertical line, I took it from the M, which is slightly off centered versus the rest of them. So it's really just the bottom that's off, so it kind of has like a curve. I guess it'd go like that. Wow, that's weird. Camera left. Yeah. I'm going to skip the H in my HIJK follies and duplicate the OP to make my QR. And to do that, we're going to actually use that part this time and delete that one. And essentially just that actually isn't too bad. Oh, I am going to go ahead and pre-apologize if the lights flicker or the power goes out. Because, I mean, I'm working off a battery on my laptop anyway, so it's not like anything will cut out on your end, but I will get very discombobulated and confused about what is happening. So I guess I'm going to pre-apologize just in case that happens. Knock on wood, it's not going to. It already happened once today, so I think we're good. Whoa, Nelly. I like the T being off, like this weird foolishness that came in from the F. I like it. It doesn't really work, but I like it. So just going to smooth it out a little bit. All right, now a U, we're definitely going to need to make this H now. And to make our H, I'm going to cut the N. You notice how sloppy I'm getting with this? It's because I'm trying to go fast. I'm getting nervous. I keep hearing these wild gusts of winds outside. Gusts of wind or winds. It's up to you. And they're making me nervous. I don't want the power to go out. it's chilly. My heater will stop working. Yeah, nobody wants that. Ooh. Do you hear this? You probably don't, but that's all right. The wind is wild. All right, so I made the H. I'm like, why did I skip over there? I still didn't do the U. I made the H so I could make the U from the H. You feel me? This is how it works. I'm going to cut there. I'm going to cut there. I'm not really going to give too many F's about why or where I'm cutting there. And then I'm going to cut in on the sides there. And I'm going to duplicate this and go in a bit just to smooth that out. I'm going to take this A that I believe is a duplicate, and I'm going to make that my V, transform, reflect. Whoa! That's not what I wanted to do. I thought it might have worked, but it didn't. I want to change my angle a little bit and rotate it a little bit that way and just cut it there. Whoops. And yeah, gonna go old school on the W and make it from the N and the V. And I think I'm going to turn the N around just because that'll add a little bit more variation when I'm turning it into a W. And this is looking pretty okay, I think. What do you think? Maybe I should start doing these live. Then I can actually... when I say, what do you think? It'll say, I'm not seeing your vision. But that's all right. That X is weird. It shouldn't all be disconnected like that. Like... I always forget. I don't know why I can't just grab a couple and skew a portion. That's much better. You always see videos. Whoops. If you're me, you always see videos where they're like, see how the X, it goes straight here, but it goes like this? And that's an optical illusion. Because when you're a type designer, you're also part magician. That's something that they don't tell you until you're deep in the woods. Woods. We're going to cut this one right there. But the reason it's part magic is because there's a lot of optical illusion in type design and a lot of training your eye to kind of do things. That's mainly what it is. Like you're trying to unify a system. And sometimes it works and other times it works great. Don't let anybody tell you different. Oh. Cut. There, cut there, cut there, and delete those two. I don't really even know why. I left those there. I'm getting too antsy, too fast. We're hitting that 15-minute mark and I get wild. I'm like, why isn't this done yet? I should be making an alphabet. That's weird. Am I missing this? There it is. I had to have it selected. You know, I use this program all the time. You think I would know? You think I would know better by now? And that is the alphabet of the week from Badman's Gold, which just sounds like a bad mamma jamma of a film. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to visit us at remedy667.com and sign up for the Horror Fonts fan club, and we'll email you some free fonts, and then we'll email you once a month. Twice if you're lucky. And yeah, we'll tell you about new stuff we got going on. We're always making new fonts. We release one every month, and we draw new alphabets every week. So if there's something you'd like to see that you wish was a font, and you're like, why does he keep drawing these and they're not available, send us an email, let me know, and I will finish them up. Until next time, I will see you next week. This is Nick. Sweet dreams.